Welcome to the GoOutLiving Attitude, a cancer survivor's journey through health and wellness, helping others search for the tools to bring us a healthier and happier lifestyle. Hi everyone, Jonathan Brandt, GoOutLiving. I am honored today to have a special guest. We have Joan Denizot, who's a pioneer in size accessibility, and I got the name right, and I'm really happy about that. Welcome. It's really a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm excited for our conversation.
Me too. I think this is a huge conversation. So many people fight this in their daily lives that I think it's extremely important to talk about it and be honest about it. So, why don't you start with how about why? How did you get into worrying about people's size?
Well, I have always thought I was fat. Always. I wasn't. Like, I'd love to be fat like I was in high school, right? But at the time, I thought I was fat, and I was always just a little bit bigger than other people. And I reached a point in my life, it was, 25 years ago, where I'd gotten really, really big and I needed to exercise. I knew I needed to exercise, but I hate to exercise. I used to. I've gotten better. But the only thing I can remember ever loving doing was riding a bike. And I said, okay, I'm going to get a bike. So then I started researching because I weighed a lot. And I don't go into numbers because it's nobody's business, including anybody else's. But it's, I knew what I weighed. And so I called places. I went to places. I called manufacturers. And I said, okay, do you have bikes for heavy people? They're like, oh, yeah, we got bikes for really big riders. They can hold 200 pounds. And I'm like, 200 pounds? My husband is thin and he weighs 200 pounds, right? And I'm like, that just struck me as so crazy. And the more I dug into it, the more I found out that 200 pounds was the maximum. And I knew that was like a big fallacy. So I decided to do something about it. And a leap of faith, basically. I just I was lurking on groups on Facebook, and I found some builders a builder that I really seemed trustworthy, and I talked to him, and he built my first prototype, and I had just the year before, my mother had invited me to take this class on how to build an internet site, and so it's like all this kind of stuff that just kind of fell into place, and so that's what I did. I did that for over 20 years. I started it, and it was really, at the time, I was the only store that someone could get a bike for a heavy person. And I had bikes designed and built for 550 pounds. And
Wow.
I chose that weight because I had no idea how big you could be and still ride a bike, right? So I wanted it to be as big as it needed to be. And so that's what started it. And then as I went on, and I got more involved in this, I realized that people were not. Thing is, okay. Sorry about the shoulder action, people. My shirt likes to fall down. So I'm just going to tell you, I'll be doing this all day. So what happened is I was still heavy. I would ride bikes. I'd lose a little weight. I'd gain a little weight. This is what happens with most people who lose weight, heavy people that lose weight. They often gain it back. And that's what happened with me. And I couldn't find clothes. I couldn't easily find clothes. Nobody was even building what is now considered normal plus size, which is up to a 2X or 3X. At that point, you could barely find that. And it was frustrating because I wanted to dress myself professionally and look good. And I couldn't find anything. It's the kind of thing where you go into a store and you're lucky if you can find anything that fits, whether you like it or not, almost didn't matter. And so I started saying, businesses need to respond. And so that is where I've kind of veered. I still have Zeiss Bikes, which is the name of my bike store. That still exists. I'm not building the bikes now, but people have started building them, which is really exciting because you can find bikes for people that weigh 400 or 500 pounds on Amazon. And it's great. They're probably not as good as my bikes were, but ours were custom built. They're very specialized and these are not. However, most people, very few people go out riding all the time. As long as you keep your bike in shape, it should be fine. Um, so anyway, so I just started saying, this is crazy. People need to wake up and respond to people of size. And that started the next kind of incarnation of my business, which is called Body Ready. And I do consulting with businesses to help them attract and retain and embrace their heavier customers, because we're over half the population, well over half the population. And why are they ignored? You know, it's like 75% of the population is now overweight or obese. That's like more, that's significantly more than half the population, but people ignore them because they have all these agendas. So don't get me going. I could talk all day about this, but it's, to me, the important thing is, it doesn't matter how much you weigh. You could be a size 1, you could be a size 50. You still deserve the same respect and love and support as anybody else. And that's what I'm trying to share with commerce, so that they get it. And I can help them learn how to attract and keep heavier customers, because you have to be careful. You have to pay your attention. It's not rocket science. You have to love them. That's all you have to do. But, for a lot of people, that's not really where their minds are at.
Well, I think what pops out at me is we're always saying, okay, people need to lose weight and all that. We get that. But how do they do it? Like you said, if there's not a bike out there for them that they can ride, if there's not a treadmill, if there's not equipment, if there's not clothing, nobody's going to want to do it.
They
They're
want to
going to
stay
not.
home, and then they eat because they're sad.
Exactly.
So,
And that's where
it's
you bring
true.
the accessibility to them. That's what you're trying to do, is make them feel comfortable within themselves.
I have read many studies on, because I just said, for me, it's all about finding joy. It's not about losing weight. If you lose weight, bravo. If you gain weight, I don't care. That's great. If it makes you happy, what I care about is that people are happy and people are respected and they find joy. So I really believe that that is the key. And there are many, many studies showing that not only is psychologically people feel better when they're happy, but physically they actually get better. There are many studies that demonstrate that if they find love, self-love, joy, happiness, their body starts healing. It may not look like 40 pounds lost. It may look like nothing, but they're stronger because they're living life and loving it. To me, that's what a gift. And how can so many people be unaware? Or, I don't even know if they're unaware. There's a huge bias. There's a huge bias in society against heavy people, and in certainly Western society. That, I don't think I'm going to be around long enough for that to actually be eliminated, but I'm doing my part because I believe so strongly that's essential.
I think, again, we're getting it in so many different ways. And a lot of that's just acknowledgement of it. It is what it is, and you got to deal with it. I come from a medical helicopter background. We couldn't get heavy people in there. There was weight limit and there was a size limit.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary. That was always scary to me, that if there was an emergency, which there was, and we've had to turn down people because we could not fit them in the aircraft. That's horrible feeling.
That's horrible. And you can build aircraft that would hold them. You can
But they
build
cost more.
aircraft that would do that. But
That
they
was their
don't.
thing. Yep.
Right, exactly.
They
That
have
was what
them.
was going on with bikes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they have them.
You
It just
didn't have
costs
one because
more.
it was too expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. And that even goes to the gurneys they use to put in an ambulance. There
Mhm.
are the ones that they can use that, again, are a little bit more expensive, and a lot of people just don't want to do it. So again, this is what we're talking about, is accessibility to anything and everything, by acknowledging We have this. It's here. Deal with it.
Yeah, and also, and not even to me, it's like, yes, that's great. I mean, wake up employers, purchasers to the reality because if you can't serve 75% of your population, what good are you? Right? But even more so, it's these are individuals. They are real people. And they need to have the same respect that a 100-pound, woman getting on the helicopter has as a 350-pound woman. It shouldn't matter. And yeah, people are bigger. Look at the food we eat. Look at the lifestyle we have. People are bigger now. Get over it. Deal with it. Don't just criticize it or build around it and act like it doesn't happen.
Right. And maybe in the future that changes. I think we're again getting the part that the food is really responsible for a lot of stuff. But in the meantime, 3 out of 4 people are overweight.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Or obese. And so like big overweight, right? Yeah. It's heart-wrenching to me actually. And not
So,
because I don't care if somebody's fat. I mean, it's fine. It's who they are. I want to love them just who they are. But what I care is that, somebody, let's say they get turned down. There was an emergency helicopter rescue and you couldn't take them. Person, as soon as they get well enough, they are going to start eating because they are so sad. And it just makes the circle more and more deep and vicious and the weight go up. I mean, that is what happens for anyone that has any kind of an eating disorder. And most people do because food is such a big part of our society,
it
right?
is. Yeah. Yeah. And on top of it, horrible food, but yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So how do we change this? Where does it start? I mean, it obviously starts with somebody like you, an advocate, a pioneer. We need more than just you.
We do need more than just me. I think we really need a cultural shift. And I honestly, that is beyond me. But all I can do, and what I think there are more and more people like me doing it, saying, no, make clothes for people that have a 60-inch hip. Make a ladder that will hold a contractor that weighs 400 pounds. Make a helicopter that will hold a 500-pound patient. This is ridiculous that, like, going to a doctor's office, how many times you go in and they have chairs this wide and you're like, my hips? No, they don't fit. I've had to literally stand, and I went to this chiropractor. I had to stand. There was no chair that fit me. And I said to him directly, I said, listen, your chairs don't fit me. And when I got in to see him, first I just stood there and I said, I really need a chair. And he goes, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I went there 3 times and he never had a chair. Then I said, I'm not going back. I mean, and I guess that's what a lot of people do is you have to vote with your wallet because that is what people hear. Too many people. But on the other hand, I'll say one other thing that, when I started, nobody was making bikes for heavy people. Nobody. And now you can find them. And I attribute my company for doing that because they saw, wow, people are buying these bikes. There are fat people out there that actually want to move their bodies. What a concept, right?
It just takes
So,
time.
it's like, there's like things like, I used to live in Vermont and I wanted to go, what do you call it? Snowshoeing. Well, you can't go snowshoeing. It's a weight restricted thing because what's happened if they don't build the snowshoe right, you go sink right into the snow. So I could never go snow. Well, actually, I did try, but then I'd sink into the snow, and it's like so many stupid things. A helicopter. I mean, they build airplanes that hold thousands and thousands of pounds. Why can't they build helicopters? It just drives me nuts. It really does. So I think you start with voices and you start voting with your wallet.
Something you bring up too is traveling. It's a nightmare,
Mm,
isn't it?
it is. It's interesting. I travel a lot. I'm very fortunate in that my husband, who is from France, his mother died a few years ago, and we inherited their summer house. which is an old farm in a very rural part of France. But we have started going there every summer. So actually, we have a TV show coming out about that. It's called Lifestyle Body Ready Joan in France. So
Oh,
it should be coming out in the
awesome.
fall. Um,
Awesome.
eh, yeah, really fun. We had a film crew there last summer and we did all sorts of fun things. It was a blast. But the travel is scary. I mean, people literally throw people off airplanes. I just read a thing the other day where somebody on Southwest, which is now supposed to be reputed as being, the greatest airline, although they're backtracking a little, but this is the second time I've heard this story. Somebody came up to the woman and said, "You need to buy 2 seats." She's traveling with her family. They were prepared to, shift and cuddle up. That was fine. We're not going to let you on the plane. You can't bring your carry-on because that's heavy like you are. I mean, total discrimination. And this does happen to people. And I don't even know what to do about that. I mean, I actually do. If in my book that I wrote, which is called Big Body Business, I have to look at the subtitle. I can never remember it. Obvious opportunities for the overweight, overlooked, and underserved. So that's the book that I've written. Great book, Amazon. But I do talk about travel in particular. And, I have an easy solution. Easy, maybe not easy, but instead of having those 4 seats packed in together or 5 rows of 5 packed in together, just like put like 3 seats and give them a little more leg room and charge them accordingly. But they don't have to pay for first class because first class is prohibitive for most people. But make the seats more comfortable. Right? Because not only is it the width, but also the length. I mean, my son is 6'4", and he travels even more than I do. And it's like, it, it's ludicrous. They're trying to make you as small as they can make you. And planes are really hard. And plus there's all the, airport walking. It's a pain, but if you're going anywhere but close by in the US, I mean, it's the way to go. So there's a lot of work to be done there. Of course, we look at what's going on with the planes right this minute, and I guess sizing
Right.
is the least of their concerns.
Right. Exactly. Unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah,
Something you bring up here too, wellness that feels human. How do we how do we define that?
I think it's about customer service. Um, I'm talking about a business perspective. I mean, like you and I immediately we connected because we like each other. We're smiling. We're talking. It's easy to find common ground, even if we were totally different. We could find common ground because if you are open, you find it. But I think in stores, in particular, what's really frequently missing is customer service. I have also a book on customer service available on my website. But the whole point is, it's not that common nowadays to have good customer service. And a lot of it is people are underpaid and exhausted and, all the reasons. But if you go into a store and you're already feeling like, will they have anything that fits me? There's nowhere safe I can sit down. If I get caught in that chair, I won't be able to get up. Or there's huge steps to get to the level I want to go to, and it's too hard for me. Or go in the dressing room and I can barely, there's no place to sit to take off my pants to try on the other one. I mean, there's just constant challenges when you're big. And so where you start is just paying attention, and like if you work in a store and you come in and you say, do you have anything that I might be able to wear? I did a thing. I was actually doing a secret survey, right? And so I went into this bicycle shop and I wanted to see what they'd tell me, right? Because bike shops, not all bikes are built to hold heavy people. I went in and I said, "So, and I was walking around. Finally, somebody would say, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a bike." "Well, what kind of bike?" I'm like, "Well, maybe an electric bike. It'll be easier to ride." "Okay. Well, how about this model?" And I said, I'm 5'11" also, right? So just so you know, I'm a tall, large woman. So this guy points me to this bike that is probably, it was so short for me. There's no way it would have fit me. And not only that, I said, "Oh, well, what's weight capacity on this?" He goes, "Well, I don't know." I said, "Well, is there any way you can find out?" And he said, "Well, sometimes they'll put it on." I said, "Could you check?" I had to beg him to tell me if it was appropriate, right? And they don't know. I actually talked to the guy that hired me to go to this particular store, and he's been trying to get, because we've worked together for a while, and he's been trying to get manufacturers to give them weight limits. Nobody wants to. They're afraid of being sued. I mean, come on. And yet airlines won't let you on the seat because they think your butt's too big. It's a wild west, right? So sorry, I am like really wired today.
No, but this is all what we need to know. I mean, this is how real it is.
It is real. And I actually have lost a bunch of weight over the past like 3 years. And what I had is a lot of support and a system. But the main thing is support, because a lot of people don't get support when they're losing weight. But so that's happened. But my life, I will tell you, my life is easier now because I can order something like smaller than a 4X or whatever I used to take. Like I can find things. I can fit in those tiny ass chairs, right? Like I can do that. And I work very hard not to become seduced by it, because it's easy to just say, "Oh, somebody else's problem," right? And I think that is part of the issue, is that people think, well, if they just stop eating and start moving, it would be fine. Well, guess what? That doesn't work like that. There's a million reasons people gain weight and keep it on, or, lose it and then gain it back. And it is way too simplistic to say it's people's fault. And so I just feel like, pay attention to people. Somebody says, "Can I help you?" Say, "Sure. Let's see. Do you have an idea what size you take? Would you like to see where the plus sizes are? Or are you looking for, a sweater? Do you like men's sweaters or women's sweater?" Like, you just try to talk to them and be human with them. I don't always have the right choice of words, but if you go with love in your heart and respect and consideration, that's how it's received. And I think that is missing with, a lot of people, but especially with heavy people, because they think, you know, whatever. There's nothing in this store for them. And if there is, I don't care because they're fat. Oh, okay.
Well, and remember, just one conversation can change that person's life.
Absolutely.
One conversation, one person that actually cares.
Yep. It true. And that's true with a positive conversation. It's also true with a negative conversation. And that's, I tend to, I don't like to say this because I don't think that's me, but it's true. I tend to think of the negatives because I hate that when people say, "Well, we don't have anything that would fit you in this store." People just get sad and depressed and will, you know, do self-destructive behaviors or not self-affirming behaviors. But it's true. You go somewhere and people, "You look beautiful," or, "Wow, I love the way, your posture," whatever it is that people are responding to makes a huge difference. I have a Sorry, I'm not even letting you ask questions anymore.
It Hey, this is all about you. So,
Apparently.
I'm happy to sit here and listen.
Um, Many times when I've been on podcasts, people say, "Well, what made you start this? What gave you the courage to say, it's okay to be fat, basically, is what. And um, it, this is the, I'm not terribly proud of this, but it's the truth. And the reason I finally had the courage, because it wasn't until I was past 40 that I started doing this, is because I married for a second time, and my husband loved me, all of me. He loves my body. He loves my heart. He loves my brain most of the time, unless I'm too sassy. It's truly, he loves me. And my ex-husband, is all the subtle put downs, all that. But my current husband, no, he truly loves me. And that made me think, oh, maybe I'm okay. Right? Maybe I'm okay just the way I am. And, like I said, I've lost weight. He still loves me. He doesn't care if I weigh, whatever. He's like, he loves me. And everybody deserves that. It's not always easy to find. And so if you get it from somebody, if you don't have it in other spaces of your life and you get it to a store and you go in and, somebody's there waiting on you and helping you, yeah, it's going to totally change your life. You're like, yeah, oh, she told me, that shirt looked excellent on me. I should, it just makes me want to go back and get the next blouse I have to get at that store. And so it builds business, but more it builds heart and love. So,
And that joy
yeah.
brings so much. I mean, it literally can change your life, which
It
is
does.
what I have found. I went into this podcast man, scared out of my mind, not knowing what I was doing. And almost from the beginning, I found joy in it because I get to talk to people like you. And it has completely changed my mentality towards it. I always knew what I wanted to do with it, but it now is coming easy.
Isn't that wonderful? Oh, that's so great. I love it.
It is. It
It
is.
really
And it's
is.
recognizing those moments, though, is it so important. Just like that one conversation can change somebody's life
Yeah,
because they're
it
going to sit
really
there and look at
can.
it going, okay, I'm on the
Yeah.
right road. Let's go. And we talk about the negative, and I don't want to, but to me, the
It's
negative
there.
part is,
I know.
well, the negative is that we're just not honest about any of it. That's the negative to me. Whether you're walking in a doctor's office or you're trying to get on a plane or what, that they're just not honest about it. And I'm not saying just call somebody out for their weight. I'm just, I think you know what I'm trying to say here.
Accommodations for people.
Right.
I mean, so for instance, I finally bought myself a seatbelt extender to take on planes. Actually, it was a gift from my daughter. She goes, I hope you don't mind. I said, this is lovely. I love it. I always bring it with me when I travel. Don't always need it now, but I have it. But I used to ask. I'd say, could I have a seatbelt extender? And they'd like, okay, I'll be right there. They'd whisper it. So we didn't want anyone to know, right? It's like, okay, thank you. I appreciate your discretion, but I can't hide who I am. It's not like I'm a drug addict and no one can see it. I am a large woman, right? And it's okay. And if it was acknowledged and it's like, here you go, are you comfy? Do you have that seat tends to have a little more room. We can lift it up here. Make them comfortable. It is not going to hurt anybody. It's only going to help, right? And it's I mean, the good news is there are many people that are trying, and not just with me, with things like cancer victims, like things that people have had to live through. People are making steps. There's also a lot of energy going in the other way, so that's frustrating. But you gotta do what you can do, right? And that's where I come in. That's where you come in. We're trying to spread the joy and to encourage people to stop and think. Right? Because I am a mean driver. I'm a good driver, but man, somebody makes a mistake and I'm like back there. It's like, will you I literally have to coach myself every time I have a reaction like that. I'm like, what is your problem? You're supposed to love people. And I truly think I do. But man, get me behind the wheel of a car. And so don't know what that's about, but I am working on myself because it's ridiculous. It's unnecessary. And, I mean, yes, some people are terrible drivers, but it's more like, oh, they didn't put their blinker on, you know?
Right.
So I just think yeah, we just have to try to find it where we can and also teach ourselves because, like, really, I mean, I am not proud of the drive and I'm a good driver. It's not that. It's like I just am so critical. Who
Well,
cares?
right.
As long as you're safe, I I think we all have work to do, even those who are trying the hardest and maybe being in many ways an example. We all have work to do. And I think that's the good news as well as the bad news, right?
We're we're human.
Yes! We are human, and that's annoying sometimes.
It is, but it's again, it's real. It brings up, like I said, I was 65 pounds overweight. A lot of it was due to my treatments. Out of my, I'd work out 3, 4 hours a day. I thought I was eating healthy. Things just
Wow.
happen.
Wow.
I finally found an answer for myself. I want to be an example that I just don't give up.
Right.
Find something within
Exactly.
yourself. And it's not just about the losing the weight. I found joy, like you said. And I didn't
Bingo.
think about it until you started saying it. It really was. There was something that when I started finding the right path for me, it brought me
Groove,
joy
right?
and it
Yeah.
continues on and on and on to today. So we are examples because we found that, and it will lead
Yeah.
to amazing things. I truly believe that.
Yeah. I believe it too. I mean, I my husband is my yeah, he is my husband. I almost said my father. I'm like, whoa, no, my husband. My husband retired a couple summers ago, and I could retire, and but I'm not. And he's like, well, why don't you retire? Work it stresses you out. I said, if I was retired, I would risk being bored. And then you think I'm stressed now? I would be, grumpy if I was bored and felt like I wasn't doing something meaningful with my life. And this is so important to me. And in one of the TV shows that we filmed, I mean, I've seen the previews and stuff. So slow to get them out. But anyway, eventually they will come out. But there was one thing I was talking, and I just said this, and I realized that to me, it is all about joy. It's what you said. It's about joy. Each of us can find it. And it's sometimes not easy because sometimes our lives are horrible. They're hard. But reach out, find friends, like go to support groups, go to an art class, whatever, join a book club, find ways to connect with people, and then build that joy because that like is healing. There's something about joy that is healing. And what a gift, right? Especially since it's in our own power. Even if you're sick, like you were sick, and yet you found a way out of that. I mean, you're healed and you're joyful. Like, wow, what a what a gift, right?
Not
So
quite healed, but yeah, definitely working on it. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it changes. I just lost my wife. It's horrible.
it's horrible.
I have days, today is exactly 3 months. It's not exactly the most joyous day for me, but
Yeah,
I get to do what I love. I get to be with you today, which
yeah,
brings me joy. So
yeah,
even though, yeah, you have that other side of it,
right.
as long as you're on that joyful ride,
Yeah.
it'll be fine, you know?
And life is like that. Like you said, there's ups and downs, there's good and bad, and there is but I think the trick is, yeah, just go after that joy. And it will come. Even like you said, you started this thing, you didn't even know what it was gonna be, right? And you're like, okay, and now you realize this has like been instrumental in making you happy.
It's huge.
Yeah,
It's everything for me. Is part of that becoming an advocate for yourself as well?
I think so. I do think so. It's a huge part of what I try to teach people is, and it's a hard thing, especially in our society for heavy people. But if you can stand up and say, we deserve, I deserve to ride a bicycle, which is why I started my bike company. I wanted to ride a bike. And I thought that is stupid that nobody's making bikes for people like me. And and yet that was a lot of courage for me to do that, because I'm admitting I'm fat, not like it's a secret. This is the funny part about it, is like it's not a secret, but still I thought it was a secret, because if I didn't talk about it, it wasn't real. And I think it is. I think it's a huge part, no matter what it is. If you have a disease, if you have a religion, if you're a different color, if your body is a different shape, whatever it is that people pick on you, because God forbid we be different, um, then that's where we need to love and own ourselves and advocate. It doesn't have to be loud and challenging advocation. It can just be, okay, yeah, I'm not going to buy there because they treated me badly, right? I actually found on Facebook, there's this great guy that I really liked what he was saying. And I thought, well, maybe I'll take a class with him, because I really felt what he was saying was just what I needed. It's called Up Spiraling. Anyway, so I signed up for his class and I'm supposed to talk with somebody. Make a long story short, the woman was late for the meeting. And then she said, "Oh, sorry, I sent you an email." She showed up like 15 minutes later. "I sent you an email this morning, but my kid's sick." And I'm like, and I looked at my email. She had sent an hour before. It was late afternoon, our meeting. And I said, "Wow." I said, "I have 4 kids. I understand, but I would have appreciated more notice." Well, there's nothing I could. She got really defensive. And I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, I can't, if they can't even hire people that have this training in their bones, I don't want to do the training. Right? Like, even though I thought this guy was great, like the person he's talking to get me to enroll in the program just was defending her behavior, which is like, if she had a sick kid all home all day, she could have sent me a note in the morning, right? Instead of, and I get it. I mean, really, we all have had sick kids at home, right? Where we have sick ourselves or whatever. We all have things and life happens. But the way she was defensive and lying, and I'm like, no, that's not, I'm just not going to do it, right? I'm just not. And it may be my loss, but it's also advocating for myself. I want to be respected when I have made an appointment to talk to you, for us to have the conversation, or at least be warned in a certain limit. So
It
it
brings up,
happens.
and it just brings up something I just went through just before I got on with you. And I had just found out there are medical bills out there that I didn't know about.
Great.
Um, and it's all, yeah, coming down on me kind of thing. And you talk to an advocate, a patient advocate, or a billing advocate, I think they're calling themselves. And I straight out said, I go, "How are you advocating anything when all you're doing is telling me the same thing?
Good
You're
for
not
you.
giving
Yeah.
me anything. You're not helping me. You're saying I owed this.
Yeah. Thank you. That's
I
really
can't afford
advocating.
that." Like, how is that it's just funny. Advocates,
What was the response?
well, eventually I got hung up on. I've talked to so many people at this point that I go, "Oh, so all you're doing is going down the line until you find somebody to pay the bill," which, by the way, you're charging me 100% more than what you'd charge somebody on Medicaid, for instance. "Oh, well, we don't know that." "Yeah, I do. Go look it up.
When I'm not.
Go look it up." It
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
again, I turn around and go, "How are you advocating for me?"
Yeah.
"Well, we have somebody that can do that." And I got sent to another place, and then, I'm like, So
That's
when
very discouraging.
yeah,
Yeah,
but my
like
point is, if you're gonna be an advocate, be a real advocate, not only
right,
for yourself, but for
right.
others. Because
And
it
you have to be
again
on your game when you're at work. Like this woman that like, "Well, my kid was sick, and so therefore I can, like, basically blow you off and lie to you." And like,
right.
"No, no, you can't." If they're gonna call themselves an advocate, could I see some advocation? Right?
There's an actual definition behind advocate. Sorry.
That's how you
I
start your next meeting. You say, "This is how an advocate is defined. Are you going to be able to live that?"
I don't understand.
It is, and here this is where we're both stuck in this. It's easy to get stuck in it, and that's the trick, is being able to say, "Okay, this sucks, but look, we're having a fun conversation." It's bringing both of us joy. We're talking about things we care about, and that, I think, is hard for a lot of people to get to that spot,
Yeah.
and
I
I
can
think
joke about it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, an advocate. What we need though, honestly, and I love that it's becoming more and more visible. I really need to fix this shirt. um, is how much community is important. More and more people are saying this is what you need, and with the internet, we isolate, and I think the more you have people you can just like process with and just, get over yourself and say, like I'm going to spend that kind of money. I don't have it. Right. Give me something that can help me. Like I'm going to, it just like, okay, so you say it and you can let it go. Whereas if you're eating you up inside, so I think
100%.
that's another really important piece that we all need is get community.
So go out living community on school. I'm advocating for myself at this point.
Awesome.
That's what it is.
Yep.
It's all about. It's
Hmm.
watch the videos, watch the podcast episodes such as this, and then come back and talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Acknowledge your whatever part of it, what you learned, and bring it into the community. That's what I started that community for. So we can learn from each other, so we can support each other. It's not about making fun of anybody. It's not about being mean to anybody. It is literally supporting each other because we're all the same when it comes down to it. We're
We're
going
all the
through
same.
different things,
We're all
but
exactly. We're all different. We have different things, different blurps,
that's it.
but we are all human beings, and we all have love, and we all have hate, and we all have angst, and we all have joy. And if we can find a way to support each other, that's the magic. I
That
really
is.
believe that. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Please come, you know, come to my community or go to somebody else's, but get it out there. I think
Yeah.
this podcast for myself has done that for me I never thought I'd be on here talking. Not once did I think I'd do this, but it's been healing for me because I just
That's
get it
great.
out there. I'm not afraid to say it anymore, and
Isn't
yeah,
that amazing? Like
it's
when you
crazy.
finally get enough self-confidence, you can say, "Oh, this is what is," right? I mean, your wife died 3 months ago, and you can talk about it without bursting into tears. That's amazing.
That's not always
Seriously.
easy. Oh,
I bet it's not always easy, but what I'm that's the whole thing. You can bring it up, you can talk about it. It hurts, and yet we're having a conversation that makes me happy, right? I, it's huge. It's huge, huge, huge. I'm very I'm very moved by your story, and I'm really, really impressed with what you're doing. It's great.
well, no, I
Not
appreciate
not
that.
only
You
because you have me on the show.
No, here's my thing. Again, there's no show without people like you.
Yeah,
None. Yeah, I got my story, but you have lived it and done it for how long now? You
right.
are a
And
true
it's a different
pioneer.
story. It's the same story, but it's a different
Yeah,
story,
but
right?
you've been doing this for so long that I respect that so much. And I hope to become like you. I hope I'm here how many years later still doing the same thing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. It really
Thank
is.
you.
And
Thank
I
you. And I
truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate myself too, which is the really big part, I think, because if we can get there, and that's the whole thing, we can like say, you're not advocating. Like, no, you're lying to me and defending your poor behavior. No, that's not going to work for me. That's advocating for ourselves. And it doesn't mean we have to be mean or bitchy. It just means, no, that doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Because
honesty.
I love myself.
Yeah,
And yeah, and I
be honest.
value my time. And so, yeah, no, I think no, but I am I am very grateful for this conversation, and I am grateful to have met you, and we will definitely stay in touch because
I agree.
obviously.
I agree. This was a lot of fun for me. And that's the thing, this can be fun. Yeah, it's serious, but laugh
Exactly.
about it. 'Cause
Yeah, I agree. I agree, totally. That's another thing I'm gonna make another little plug for my book because
I was
this
gonna
book
ask.
is it's a business book. I wrote it for big business. But it's written like I talk, which people have probably gotten a hint now. I'm pretty relaxed and I like to tell stories and I get sidetracked. And I wrote it a lot like I am because, and my like publisher's like, you need to put in some statistics. And I'm like, oh, who cares? I did. If you're one of those people, but it's more about the reality, the hurt, the joy, the all that. And so I just think it's so important. I think you need to write a book too, honestly.
I agree 100%.
Something.
Put it on the list.
Yeah, right. There you go. But anyway, enough
No,
enough
I
publicity.
definitely want to. I I'm gonna do a blog post with this, so I'm gonna get all your information on there. I just started a page on my website for books from my guests. It's definitely going on there,
Great,
100%.
great. I
Um,
encourage people to read it if you enjoy not if you hate business books, you can still read this. Because even if you don't have a business, you can help educate people, right? Sometimes people really don't know. Like I remembered, I'm going to share one more story, then I promise I'll stop because we've been talking minutes. Uh, when I started my bicycle business, and at that point I lived in Vermont, and I was going to all these like networking meetings, trying to figure out what I was doing because I had never been in business before. And I'd say, so what do people say? Well, what do you do? I said, well, I build and sell bicycles for heavy people. And people look at me like, why do people need special bicycles? I'm like, because actually bicycles break if there's too much weight on them and they're not assembled correctly. And they're like, wow, I never thought about it. Like, and they weren't being ignorant. They were ignorant, but they weren't being intentionally ignorant or obnoxious. They were like, they never realized. And that is what I'm trying to counteract is people that just don't think about it. People that fit in a small ass chair, excuse my language. I'm in the South now, and my Southern friends do not understand my vocabulary.
this isn't
But
for children, so it's all right.
so you have these tiny chairs, and it's like, well, they can sit in them, so they don't think that. For some people, that is a huge barrier, right? And so it's a lot of it is just you don't realize it, and so that's part of what I think we're doing is we're helping people understand that and see people when somebody like if somebody that's heavy sees this show or listens to the show and say, "Oh my god, somebody gets me." Right? That's also a huge relief. Oh my gosh, it's so exhausting to feel like you're the only person in the world that does something. So,
100%. And we
yeah.
both have been there from different reasons.
Yep.
So that's how there's not just one way, one reason.
No.
We're all different. There's different ways. So
And we're
agree
all the
100%.
same.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what's the amazing part. It's like,
Exactly.
and we're being negative and we're being positive. It's like, this is the human condition, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a
Yeah.
good name, the human condition.
I like that. There's a new book.
Yeah, or a new podcast series.
Exactly. There you go. I'll come on. I'll be your first guest. Uh, Joan Denizot, and I got it right.
You did. Look at that. You learned.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a real joy, and I look forward to, checking up on the website and following your messages because it's important, and I'd be more than happy to come back at your school thing or however you wanna do it.
Awesome.
It's
I
fun.
appreciate that. It's been a real joy for me today, and I thank you. I really do.
You're very welcome. Thank you too.
And for all of you out there, I really appreciate every one of you. And as you know, find the attitude, keep the attitude, go out living. Bye, everyone.